Hello and welcome to Caffeine Entertainment. I'm your host Mental 9R and this is another tech series video. This one is a follow-up to a video I did a couple months ago, which was an unboxing of the PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge controller, and in my case it was a refurbished one. If you haven't seen that video, you can find, I'll try to put a link somewhere in this corner up there. Anyway, but yeah, if you can check that one out too, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, so let's get into this. I wanted to talk a little bit about the controller and what I've experienced over the last couple months. I've used it multiple times a week, almost daily sometimes, and just kind of give you an update on what I think of it. So yeah, the controller still looks great. It's I mean, it was in excellent condition when I got it, and I think it's still in excellent condition now. I do try and take really good care of my stuff. But that aside, a few things that I've come to really appreciate, and not surprisingly, I do like the extended thumbstick on the right. One of the main reasons is because when you compare it to the standard controller, and I've talked about this before, I think, in other videos. One of my big complaints with the PlayStation DualSense, actually any PlayStation controller, is these aren't offset like they are with the Xbox controller. And the way I hold the controller is like this. I can't play like that, drives me crazy. So when I strafe left and turn right, my thumbs are there. So I have to consciously always think about lifting my one thumb. When you have the extended thumbstick on this side now, I don't really have to think about it. They can overlap and it's no big deal. And that's great. So that's one of the things I like about it. Next, of course, and I kind of touched on this a bit before, you do have a couple different options for the paddles. There's these, and then the standard ones, like so. So one thing though that I kind of found by accident is that you can actually even do this and stick in the one that would typically be on the other side, which I thought was really kind of cool. I don't use it that way, but I could see why somebody might want to use it that way. And I thought that was pretty neat, just the fact that it's doable. That's something that you can't do with the Xbox controller, but you know, whether or not it's useful for you, hard to say. I don't know you, but for me, like I say, it was a neat option. I played with it for a while, but I ended up reverting back to the normal method where it's just kind of laying flush against the side. I prefer that. But nonetheless, like I say, it's kind of cool. So anyway, a couple other things. I thought I'd compare it a little bit with the Xbox Elite controller, the Elite Series 2. Thumbstick, the extended thumbstick on the right here is quite a bit longer. I do like the fact that you have the adjustable tension. I always like having the right side a little stiffer than the left, just because, and you can't do that with the PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge. And, you know, again, that might not be a big deal for some. I do notice it a little bit. Not a big deal, but I do notice it because I like to have a little more tension on that right thumbstick. Comfort-wise, I still give the nod to the Xbox controller. Ultimately, the way it sits in my hand is just that little bit better. I like the offset thumbsticks a little bit more. I like the fact that I can hit the triggers and press the bumpers without really having to move my fingers much, if at all. So that part's really cool too. Generally speaking, still really like the Series 2 Elite controllers. Very, very nice. I think it's a great controller overall, and if you take them both at their list value of brand new pricing, and I had to pick one, I'd probably, you know, well, I know I would go with the Xbox controller as being my preferred controller. Like if I was using them on PC or something like that, obviously you're stuck with whichever one you have the console brand for, but I definitely give the nod to the Elite Series controller overall when it comes to list prices. So when I consider the fact that I got this as a refurb and the condition that it's in and basically being brand new, I think it's more of an open box than anything else. In that case, and I consider the haptics because that's something I've really come to appreciate. On the Xbox controllers, I normally disable vibration. It's one of the first things I do, especially in shooters if I'm playing online. If I'm playing online, I will disable those. I also disable the rumble in the triggers. Generally speaking, it's almost never used. But if it is, I'm usually disabling it. So that's something with the PlayStation controller I thought I would be doing. And especially when I found out about the adaptive triggers, I thought for sure I'm going to hate that. And I thought I would be disabling it. But you know what? Turns out I actually kind of like it overall. And I think the biggest reason is it's not intrusive. It's very subtle. The effects are subtle. The triggers you feel a little bit more, but again, it's not like it's a big deal. Mind you, I haven't really played a lot of first-person shooters. I haven't played online. In that scenario, I'd probably still disable all this stuff. But in general, very nice controller. And I'm very happy with it. And I definitely recommend if you find one that's refurbished and you get it in this condition and you can save as much money as I did, it's almost a no-brainer at that point. And the only other thing I want to mention, and I'll switch to my other view here, and that is, let me go back to the home and over. Sorry, you're gonna look sideways there for a second. This is what I wanted to come to. You see that DualSense Edge right here? That is just from the controller being sitting on my desk. I haven't even been playing with it. And the battery's already down. The battery life in this thing is brutal. Like, it's not good. Really, really poor, to be honest. And that part is disappointing. I don't know what to say. The Xbox controller, this battery, I probably get 30 hours, maybe more, out of the battery before I have to recharge. I don't remember the last time I recharged it. Maybe that's a reflection more of I don't remember the last time I played a game on my Xbox. I don't know. But I've been really focusing on the PlayStation lately just to kind of do these reviews I've been doing. So they got to do something about this battery life. It's terrible. Anyway, I'll go back to this view. Let me just see if I can turn on the overhead as well, so you can see what I'm doing. There's these little, I'll go back to this one. There's these little function things right here. So when I hold that down, and I went over this a little bit, I love this because I can also turn the volume up and down. You can see me just doing that. It's a really nice feature that they've added to it that I really wish, again, Microsoft could do more. So the one thing, when I think in terms of overall value, it really comes down to the price. And the price I paid for this one, because it was refurbished, was pretty decent. It was under $200 Canadian. And that in itself, I think, makes this great value because of its longevity, or the potential for longevity, with replaceable thumbsticks that don't require you to know how to solder and doing all that type of stuff. The flexibility that it gives you with the different way you can use the paddles, and the extended thumbstick, I like that you can replace them. I haven't looked, actually. Maybe there's even aftermarket ones I can get. I think all that stuff is great. Like the haptics. It's a reasonably comfortable controller. It's not as good as Xbox on that front for me anyway, but I do like the Edge controller. And if you can find one like I did that's refurbished in excellent condition. Honestly, I think it was brand new. I think it was more of an open box scenario, just because it was in such great condition. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. Thanks so much for joining me on my PlayStation 5 refurbished DualSense Edge controller follow-up. I do appreciate it. I've really come to love the controller. The only thing I hate is the battery life stinks. They got to do something about that battery life, Sony. Put in a better battery. I mean, how much could it really cost you? You buy them in bulk. What's it, a couple dollars? It's definitely not going to break the bank. You ask a premium for it. You should get a premium battery like you do with the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. It literally lasts 10 times longer than yours. Other than that, though, it's great. Thanks again. I'm Mental 9R. This is Caffeine Entertainment, and don't forget, it's time to wake up and play some games.